If you've been grinding Dreaming Spanish videos for hundreds of hours now and you're thinking, is this even working? You're not alone, we've all been there. I've personally logged over 1,600 hours of comprehensible input in Spanish now. And yeah, I've had plenty of low motivational phases during that journey. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you what helped to keep me going when it all felt pretty pointless. So I'm going to touch on two key points here. First and foremost, it's a little bit generic and cliche, but I still think it's the root cause. The most important thing when it comes to motivation when learning Spanish is remembering why you started in the first place. You know, understanding your why. Sounds a little bit woo-woo and cliche, but it's true. For me, my why is to starting this Spanish journey in the first place is that I was curious in long-term travel, solo traveling. I'd done a few trips myself in places in Europe and a little bit in Asia. But yeah, I felt like there was a little bit of a disconnect between myself and some of the local people that I was trying to interact with because I wasn't speaking in their first language. So yeah, for me, learning Spanish was something that could join on to my passion of traveling and discovering new cultures and things, because a large part of Latin America speaks Spanish as a first or second language, and in my mind this would allow me to connect with locals in a different way, to see cultures differently, to understand them more deeply. So yeah, for me my why was very clear, and especially because I'd planned a trip and I knew I was going to be going on a sort of a long-term solo traveling trip in Latin America. So my why was pretty well defined and it had a sort of deadline because I knew I had a plane to catch on a certain date. But yeah, for other people, learning a language can be around career progression. It can be around cognitive benefits, just sort of the curiosity of learning a language and improving your mental capacity, I guess, things like that. So my point is that I really think it's important to define your why and maybe just remember as well, just to go back, and because when you're in this grind, you kind of forget a lot of the time why you're doing it in the first place. You're just kind of logging the hours and getting it done. But I really think that going back and remembering why you started in the first place can help motivate you to push through these sort of low spikes. My second, more practical point, I think, is to look to the community, the Dreaming Spanish community. One thing that really helped me when I was kind of struggling at a certain level, a certain milestone in Dreaming Spanish, was to go on YouTube and to type in Dreaming Spanish, 300-hour update, 400-hour update, whatever. And amazingly, there's a community of YouTubers that have actually shared like pretty much their entire journey through Dreaming Spanish, from 100 hours to up to 1,500 hours for some people, in 100-hour, 50-hour, 200-hour increments. Now this can be a really big help when you're at a certain stage on the roadmap and you're starting to lose faith a little bit in your own ability and whether it's working, and going online and seeing other people who have the same sort of struggles, issues, experiences as you, it makes you feel less alone in what you're feeling. But then also, going from the sort of update from the level that you're at and understanding that people have the same issues, actually sort of if it's a creator who's a little bit further on the roadmap than you now, and this is an old video that you're watching, you can jump ahead maybe 200 hours, 300 hours in their progress and see what you have to look forward to, what's just on the horizon, what sort of new types of content you can unlock in video game sort of terminology. Yeah, this for me, like seeing these people like actually having this like personal connection through a screen, like it really did give me the boost for me to keep going with Dreaming Spanish when I was in those low stages. I'm gonna obviously leave some links to the creators that I've been watching through my journey. A quick couple of shout outs. Angela Learns Spanish was a great channel for me in terms of tracking someone who is at a similar level to me we kind of like had a very similar progression in terms of, I think she started around the same time as me, maybe a little bit before. And I've been tracking a little bit behind her, but like, yeah, very similar in terms of how much time we've been putting into comprehensible input over this sort of like last year and a half. So yeah, whenever it was like looking to someone that who was at the same level as me and was having the same problems as me, Angela was a huge help in being able to see these problems in someone else and solutions that she'd found and tips, tricks, etc. was really, really helpful. Also, a creator that was way further ahead in the roadmap than me when I started was Luke Learns Spanish. Luke Learns Spanish. He was great as well in terms of like giving me the initial insight into, wow, like this is, if I do stick to this roadmap and put in the hours, like I can get to, you know, Luke's level at 1,500 hours, speaking to people on italki in Argentina on his travels. Like it was like his channel was more of like okay, this is what I want to get to in the future. So yeah, thanks guys. I really, sometimes when you're looking at the roadmap and you're reading Pablo's blog, it can feel all very logical and makes a lot of sense, but for me to be able to push through with my journey, it really has helped seeing other creators and being able to sort of connect and yeah, just feeling less alone, just feeling like there's other people that are doing the same as you and having the same issues and working through them at the same time as you. Looking to the community is a great point. I just wanted to caveat it a little bit by saying that sometimes it can be easy to compare yourself to one person in specifically, especially at your level, and feel a little bit bad because maybe what they are watching or what they're consuming or their level is better than yours. But when you have these feelings, I think it's just really important to remember that everyone's journey is different. Maybe someone who started the Dreaming Spanish roadmap had already done a base of Spanish classes or whatever. They have like a little bit of background. You never know. And that's why I think that watching multiple creators is important, not really just latching onto one person and completely comparing yourself to that person very strictly. There's a whole slew of creators. I'm gonna link to them, and I think that you guys should check them out if you feel like you're losing a little bit of motivation, because it really can help when you hear these people's stories. Final caveat on the comparison point is that for me, the best point of comparison is always going to be comparing your current self to your previous self. This is when you realize how far you've actually come, even though you're in this grind and you're doing this daily habit. You know, realizing that today you can watch a video and understand 80% of it, that maybe like yourself when you started out had no clue what anything was being said. This can be a real motivational factor and help you realize that the time that you've invested has been worth it, and if you just keep sticking at it, then the effects will compound. So yeah, try rewatching an old video that you really struggled with initially, or maybe a text, a book, something that you were just totally clueless with, and maybe seeing that, oh my goodness, now I can understand it like X, Y, and Z. Like just, you know, give yourself a pat on the back for what you've done already. So yeah, those are my 2 key points. I just wanted to finish by saying that, you know, if you're losing faith, remember that motivation really does come and go, but consistency compounds. And I promise you, your future self will thank you for sticking with it.